Slippery?
Hey y'all, welcome to Stivers Homestead. I'm Zach and you're about to be seeing Jenn dropping some good knowledge on you all for some goats. It is rainy and about to snow here in southeastern Kentucky, but before we get to the goats and some important lessons that you're going to learn, I got some good news to show you. So if you've been around for a while, I've been on vacation from my day job since a couple days before Christmas. It's been great. We've knocked out a lot of huge projects, had a lot of great family time, and it's been really, really enjoyable. Well, I go back to work on Monday, but we were able to get one big thing accomplished. That's right, I was able to get all of the wire pulled. That was the mistake of when they built this place. They did all the wiring wrong. They put the neutral on the positive and the positive on the neutral. In layman's terms, they put black on white, white on gold, and it's supposed to be the opposite. So I had to come through and take out all that wire, rerun, actually better wire. I made it better. They did it the cheapest absolute way possible and did it wrong at that. So I was able to do that. They also put it all on one breaker, all of my outlets, all the light on one breaker. And since this is going to be a store, it's going to power some fridges and such like that. I broke it up. We now have 3 breakers with these. So we got this wall, that's going to be a breaker, the back wall, that's a breaker, and some a little over here. And then the lights by themselves, because we're probably going to get some ceiling fans and stuff up there. But I was able to get it done. Yes. And if you told me 5 years ago, I know, first off, I'd acknowledge that there is bad wiring, and then also be able to pull it out and rerun it myself and know how to do the interior electrical and all that good stuff with outlets and lights and things, I'd call you a liar. I'd tell you I had no idea how to do that. And my point being to get to here is for you all, as you're approaching, or as we're now in 2022, I gotta get used to saying that, you're gonna be faced with a lot of things you don't know how to do. And the same here, right? Like there's gonna be a lot of things that we're gonna face throughout this year that we're not gonna know how to do. But just know that you will figure it out. You're smart enough, you're crafty enough, and you will get it done. So even something as scary as what electrical can be, even you can figure out how to do that. I promise you, there's plenty of YouTube videos, plenty of books and different things that you can read to learn. Find a master electrician, someone that you trust, that can kind of talk you through some of these things if you're trying to tackle it yourself. But always, if you're a couple, of course, you can hire them out. But my point is, no matter what it is you're gonna face this year, you can do it and you will get it done, and you'll get it done correctly. You just may stumble a few times on the way, but have faith in yourself, have faith in him. So now the electrical is done, it's insulation time. So I'm gonna be insulating this whole bad boy, and once we get that one to insulation, that'll be all that we need to do for the behind the scenes stuff, right? So after that, then I'll be putting up walls, ceiling, and then really, and floor, and then starting to get shelves up. So we're not far away, even though it looks real bare, we're not far away from what we wanna have complete or getting to the point where we're stocking it up. The biggest project that we really will have left on this is a big old porch out there. So because this little shack is 12 by 32, it's gonna hold a lot of stuff that we're wanting to sell, that Jenn's wanting to sell out of her store. However, we're gonna add a 16-foot covered porch on this that's gonna allow us to extend and have more room for that selling opportunity, besides the fact of having a place where people can sit and maybe take pictures and things like that. But like fall is the perfect example. Putting out pumpkins and putting out that stuff, you have massive amounts of that are big items. That's what the porch can be utilized for. So that one's gonna be the big project, but in here, we're starting to move. Getting past this electrical was a big ordeal, and I'm just so happy we were able to get it done before I had to go back to work. All right, you may not even know who we are and what we're doing. You may have came for goats. So let's go talk about goats now. But if you are new, hit that subscribe button for us. Stay a while. All right, we are out here in the barn doing some wet Kentucky weather maintenance. In the winter, where we are in southeastern Kentucky, we don't get into like a deep freeze, and we're not south enough to get a nice warm winter. We're that in-between wet area. So when you're wet, that's a lot of concern for your livestock. Wet is not a good thing when it comes to hooves, when it comes to their digestive systems, just a little bit of everything. Mud's bad. So your biggest job is to try to keep them dry. Jen's gonna talk to you a little bit about goats specifically, and then kind of what we're doing to try to take care of that, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So here she is.
So like he was saying, when it's wet, it's really bad for them, especially ruminants. They can't be eating wet grass, and they can't be having their feet in the wet. It's just, it can cause problems. So it happens. I mean, you know, we've walked out a few times and goats may get diarrhea. It's just part of it. Don't freak out, just take action. Your biggest thing is keeping them wormed. So we do natural worming with herbs. We use the Molly's herbals. The reason why I like it so much is because they can't become resistant to it. So with ruminants, if they get worms and if you don't do a fecal sample, you don't really know what kind of worm they have. And then if you treat it with something like from Tractor Supply or just a basic dewormer, then you could be making them resistant to that dewormer if they don't even have that worm. So I don't know, it sounds complicated. It's really not. But with using herbs, it's just more natural. Then you can't become resistant to herbs. If you need it, then your body absorbs it. So mainly staying up to date on that. We do that once a week, and then every 6 to 8 weeks, there's a 3-day herb that we do, mostly wormwood and stuff like that. But just watching them, making sure that they mostly stay dry. My biggest thing is their trough is outside where it's wet. So they have to go to it, and when they get there, they're getting wet. They're eating off, like they're not eating on the ground. It's up off the ground, but they're still going out there. And when they go out there and they see a patch of grass, they're like, oh, that looks good, but that grass is wet, and it's not good for them. So my biggest hope, we're gonna move their trough in here.
Thank you.
The reason why we haven't done that before, I know you're probably thinking, why didn't you just do that? We put it out there, one, because it's easier, two, because we have chickens in here, which I hate. I wish we didn't have chickens in here, but when we moved, we didn't have anywhere to put them, and now it's their home. Chickens roost on everything, and they poop on everything. So that's why we haven't put the trough in here. But I think we figured out a specific location that hopefully the chickens will not roost on and not get poop in. So anyways, if we bring that in here, they haven't been wanting to come out, so I'm hoping that will encourage them even more to just stay in until it can stop raining and dry up a little bit, because it's just non-stop rain right now and it's really bad. If you do come out and see that some of your goats, or one has diarrhea, one, make sure that they can get to water. They need to stay hydrated, because obviously that replenishes your system of liquid. Two, you can give them a probiotic paste, which is what we do, and then just make sure you're staying up on your herbs. If you don't use herbs and you do use dewormers, or if you're thinking about using dewormers, everybody does things differently. This is just my opinion, because we've had goats for so many years. If you're gonna use a dewormer, you need to know what you're working with, because if you just buy one from the store and use it, it can potentially not treat them, and then they become resistant to it, like I was talking about. So I would just recommend using herbs. Much better way to go.
All right, they got their beds nice and dry with some fresh pine shavings. Dolly's already made it home. Got that one done. Then over here is the other one that likes to stay wet on us, but we got it down and looking good. All the black goats up in here. What y'all doing, ladies? But here's the reason why we like pine straw or pine shavings over straw. Hi, butters.
We'll be back.
So for many years, we use straw in all of our stalls and beds. The thing about straw is it doesn't break down very quickly. And then when okay, Lucy. Jeez, oh Pete. It doesn't break down very quickly. And when you have to go clean that out, it is incredibly heavy. It is like, I don't even know how to compare it, but it's starting to compost underneath there with that deep bedding. And it is insane. You spend an entire week cleaning stalls when it comes to straw. Pine shavings are lighter. They're more absorbent than straw is, and they decompose down pretty quickly because they're so thin. So we've just had better success with that. It seems to absorb the water and then stay dry, so it dries out quicker, where straw just holds all that moisture in, which in turn is canceling out what you're trying to do in the first place, by keeping dry stalls. Lastly, the one pro of straws is the deep bedding method. So kind of what I was saying as a con is a pro in your really cold areas, because it is starting to compost and it's starting to produce heat in whatever coop or barn that you're in. So it does help chickens out in that case. But like she had been mentioning, if you have any kind of goat or sheep or anything like that, I wouldn't try to go deep bedding method. One, they don't really need it, and two, it's just nasty under there. It's just so nasty, and that is pooping. And that is just disease area when you do that. But that's my long-winded reason why we use pine shavings and not straw. I appreciate all the headbutts while I was trying to shoot that. Thank you, Butters.
Say hi, Miss Tilly. Say hi, Miss Tilly. Sweet girl. Sweet girl. You say hi. You're so sweet. Slippery. Don't fall. You're gonna face plant.
It's gonna happen. Almost to the right. I made it.
Scared all the goats half to death. So we're putting it right here in the middle. The chickens roost on anything on the sides or the tops, anything that they can get up high. They don't roost here in the middle. I'm not saying that they won't try to roost on this. They might, but we'll see how it goes. Right now, it's the best option, and we'll just reevaluate from there. But it's better than it being down there. Another really important thing is to make sure that they have plenty of good quality hay. They really need that grit and that dryness in their digestive system. If they're just eating grain, that's going to be a lot of the source of your problem. So just make sure that they have it always on hand. And it is not that cold here, but it also does help keep their body temps up. It keeps them warm, just like you and I. So that's another good factor to keep in mind.
Oh yeah.
The egg in my fucking
I think I just cracked it. I think I did. It's good. It's good. So ultimately, goats are very easy to take care of and maintain, as long as you're keeping up with things. You know, just like you don't want to live in a sloppy, muddy mess at your house. So give them a dry area to be. Make sure they're eating. Wow, Tilly, crazy horse. Give them a dry area. Make sure they have their minerals. Make sure they have their herbs, and then make sure they have some dry hay. Nice, good quality hay to eat. And for the most part, you're gonna be good. And always check them hooves. Did you talk about the hooves?
No, but yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Always be trimming their hooves, especially when it's wintertime. Our goats' hooves stay really good in the summertime because it's dry. But in the wintertime, they can get a little iffy, so you just got to keep clipping them.
Yeah, them. And that's why it's good. I'm so happy we put this rock down in the spring of last year, because the rock definitely helps keep their hooves trimmed back as it is, instead of them just walking on the ground. So that's a plus. But yeah, hoof rot is a real thing, and you definitely need to make sure that you're keeping them nice and trimmed up, because that's something that you don't want to go through. It's painful for the goat, and it'll end up ultimately with death, sadly. It's like a family dinner. Yeah. Everybody around the table. Happy New Year, y'all.
Dysfunctional and all.
Yeah, dysfunctional and all. They'll end up fighting.
Yeah. They'll get over it.
Yeah, and then they'll eat again.
One of these days, we hope to have a really huge, big barn that we can just lock everyone in. But right now, there's not enough room for all of them. So we just bring everything to them, and it encourages them to stay inside and not go outside. Okay, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about when I say Molly's Herbals. That's the logo, so you can look it up online. She's got a website and you can buy everything. We buy it in bulk because we have so much livestock, and we use it for everything. For the cows, for the goats, for the dogs, the pig, the chickens, any animals, rabbits, cats, anybody can use it. So we buy in bulk. We get the #1, which is the 3 days in a row every 6 to 8 weeks. And then the #2 is the weekly that we do. If you've been around with us for any length of time, you know that I've talked about Molly's Herbals for probably 2 years now. I think that's how long we've been using them. I love it. It's a safe, natural way to keep your worm load down in your livestock without having to go buying these commercial dewormers and all that. Now, yes, those do come in handy if you've got a severe situation that you've got to treat. Knock on wood, and thank God that we never have had to. The herbs have always been enough for us, and it keeps their worm load down and keeps them healthy. As long as you stay on it, set your alarm, and it'll help you out. We keep all of our bulk storage inside, but Zach fills up a coffee can, like an old tin coffee can, and he takes it out to the barn where all the food is so that he can, you know, have it out there and not have to forget it. And then when he runs out, he brings me the coffee can and we refill it.